I hear Congress is about to pass this Every Child Succeeds Act. What is your take on this act?
Okay, just from what I've read, it looks like the act is actually an infringement on the rights of the people, and in particular, the parent. The government, because they're funding the schools, they feel like they have the obligation or the right to dictate what your child learns in school settings, and that's just not constitutional. Parents, as long as they're functional parents, should have the right on what a child learns and how they learn it. And what's happening is the government is actually taking over all of our rights and basically leaving us with none. We allow 2% of the population to dictate what everybody else does, and that's just not acceptable. Not in this country. That should never happen. A parent should have the main say on what their child does, and I know for a fact I'm gonna have the 100% say of what my child learns, because that's my child, and nobody's gonna care more than I do about what my child's development. We have a group of people who want to say this is what your child is gonna learn, and what this act is going to say, you can't change. You have no say of what they're going to learn. So what's happening is we allow 2% of the population to control this, what your child learns, and then you have a group of people that control those congressmen and what they're going to do and what we're going to have in our systems. And I just implore the people to not allow this act to go through. Make a stand. Don't allow evil to control the situation. We're good people. We have a lot of good people, but they do nothing about bad situations except just talk about it, which changes nothing. So let's go ahead and do our part and make sure we let Congress know that this is not acceptable to the people, and not allow it to happen.
So if we study our U.S. Constitution and we look at Article 1, Section 8 of the enumerated powers, which specifically lists the powers given to the federal government, education is not included. And then more specifically, when you look at the Bill of Rights in the 10th Amendment, it says that the powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution nor prohibited to the states are reserved to the states respectively or to the people. Well, that means that either the states have the power or the people. And traditionally, since the founding of our country, it's been the people that have had the power over education. Parents have been the one to decide what their kids learn, and actually the students themselves have been able to choose what they study. But when we look at the new Every Student Succeeds Act, which Congress is about to pass, and specifically the language in H.R. 5, it says that it expresses the intent of Congress that control over public education and parental rights to control their children's education is vested exclusively within the authority reserved to the states and individual Americans. Now that's a change from the 10th Amendment. Here it has the word "and," meaning both the states and individual Americans, so the state can step in and decide what kids learn, and the parents either agree or don't agree, but the states do have that right. And it also says, by the Constitution, it has exceptions. When the states expressly approve federal terms or conditions on educational assistance, or the federal government is obliged to enforce minimum federal equal protection or due process. So you see quite a few ors in there, many different cases where the federal government will be able to override not only individuals and what they want their kids to learn, but also to override the states. And this is definitely not the intent of the U.S. Constitution or the 10th Amendment.